Hello, this is Seewing Yee from the Yee Real Estate Network, and let me ask you this: Do you have approximately $8,000 in cash in your checking account, savings account, or even you may even use your credit card, right? Uh, Charge $8,000 to $9,000 from your credit card, and you can buy a typical turnkey investment property in Buffalo for a mere $50,000, single family home, and then finance it with 15% down payment. Yes, 15% down payment, and then you will cash flow. And I'll tell you the pro forma, if you will, momentarily, but this is just a high level introduction. So, for those of you out there, and many of you still within my network, within our Year Rooster network, still many, if not most of you, are still have not pulled the trigger, meaning still have not purchased any property through our network. And I truly understand human nature, right? Many of you have this like freak yourself out to having uh, the opportunity to become a real estate investor, especially not only to buy investment real estate, but to buy out of state. So it just freaks most people out, which is, it is what it is. I do understand human nature and been doing it for many, many years. And on the one hand, we do have, a core group, a very, very highly motivated, highly committed real estate investors that has been buying within our network for many, many years, since 2004, since our inception. But at the same time, I always see from time to time people log into my uh, newsletter on a weekly basis all these years, whether you came from our local adult schools or from referrals or from online, from meetup accounts that we set up, or from other means, have for one reason or another, you have log into our uh, newsletter within our database, and you've been watching our two or three times weekly newsletters and videos about various opportunities in different markets that we have been presenting. So, with that said, some of you don't have, I understand, some of you don't have any money at all. Some of you have very limited financial resources and limited budget. And some of you have mass amount of financial resources, and most of you live in a Bay Area, since most of you live in the Silicon Valley. And I have to assume that many of you who are part of our database, part of our Evolution Network membership, have massive amount of money sitting somewhere in your financial account, and you can easily purchase multiple properties. But again, I'm not gonna dwell on that. All I'm saying is, some of you that whether you have a limited budget or you want to take a low risk to venture into out of state investing, which is not easy, is a new concept to most of you out there, and I get it. But all I'm asking you in this particular situation, in my presentation, I'm providing you that I'm going to target the Buffalo market, which is about our number one market for our network, because it is a market that we feel very comfortable with. Um, and you have the ability to buy a 45 to $50,000 single family home with our Buffalo turnkey partner, with all rehab done, and the renter already living in the house already in place, and the cash flow is amazing, right? So so I'm not going to spend too much time. The bottom line is, this link. You click this link, you will see a lot of properties for this March 2019 inventory. So go ahead and just familiarize yourself with it. At the end of the day, with my consultation with our preferred lender, our loan agent, Richard at Vanny from Wells Fargo, he's been doing most of our investment loans for our members the last few years. So he just verified with me that as a result of the Fannie Mae lending guidelines, you can purchase up to 10 investment single family homes up to 10 mortgages with only 15% down payment. And okay, so I say it again, okay, so it just bear repeating because this is a very crucial investment strategy. You have the ability for those of you qualify with your credit, right, to get financing. I say it again, with single family home investment homes, you have the ability to put down only 15% down payment to get financing. Of course, you have to pay PMI, which is private mortgage insurance. But since these properties are, average price is only $50,000, the extra monthly PMI is only like $30, according to Richard Avani. So at the end of the day, once again, as long as you do not buy, if you buy anything higher than a single family home as an investment, if you buy a duplex or higher, the minimal down payment is 25%. Okay, that's per Fannie Mae lending guideline. So at the end of the day, if you want to take very little risk, if you want to achieve a high return and do 50% down payment for the next 10 houses, for the next 10 single family homes we have listed here in Buffalo. So that way you can create a very nice real estate portfolio, and some of you can even retire once you obtain these 10 mortgages in a mere 6 months or less, or up to a year, depending on how aggressive you are to purchasing these properties. So again, I'm not going to take too much time. You can read the newsletter accordingly, but this is just a sample. Okay, this is a sample 10 property purchase plan. Of course, for those of you who are newbie, meaning you are a first-time investor, then our Buffalo market is a good place to pull the trigger initially to see whether you can have a good experience buying your first investment property out of state. And assuming they have a good experience after you close escrow and everything else, then you can have if you have financial more money available, you can continue to buy with 15% down payment, all right, up to 10 mortgages. But the reason why the Buffalo market is ideal to your situation is because the prices are very low, the property has been rehabbed properly, right? And the rent is very high relative to the purchase price. The rent, the benchmark for rent to value is 1%, right, on a traditional terminology. But in this case, and in this Buffalo market, for whatever reason, the rent to value ratio is way beyond 1% rule, which is amazing. And the capitalization rate, right? The benchmark is like 6% capitalization rate. In our case, is double digit, is 10% or higher. And again, your ability to leverage, your ability to get financing on a consistent basis will allow you to have a higher return. We call it cash on cash return. It will typically 30 to 40% here in this Buffalo market. And of course, your net cash flow, your annual cash flow, and your total down payment. Imagine the bottom line is all you need is less than 10 grand cash, all right, to buy a average $50,000 investment property in Buffalo and still cash flow pretty significantly based on the money you put down. So less than 10 grand to buy each property with very high cash flow, with positive cash flow, yeah, leveraging with 50%. It's just an amazing way to make your money work smart and work hard. So again, I'm not gonna go over uh, any more details. You can read about it on the rest of the newsletter and just look at it. Look at some of these real sample of the current inventory that we have on our link for the March 2019 link, and these are the property that I picked, which I did some pro forma calculation, of course. On the link itself, you could always, of course, you can always click the link and evaluate many properties we have listed on this particular month. All right. So other than that, let me see what else. Especially for you new people, you need to contact our very important person, Richard Advani, right, our investment loan agent. Here's his phone number and email address, and you could get loan pre-approved initially. But after you consult with me, right, if for those newbies, beginners out there, is it is imperative that you need to contact me first for us to do a strategy session, for do a complimentary consultation over the phone, FaceTime, or even one-on-one physical meetings on therefore, hopefully you will qualify. Then we'll push you through the process once we create a good relationship after this. All right. So with that said, thank you so much for listening and watching, and I look forward to consulting with you and helping each and every one of you to achieve your goals of financial freedom through our great leverage of investment properties that we have here in Buffalo and elsewhere in our community. All right, thank you so much. This is Seewing Yee from the Real Estate Network. Thanks for listening. Have a blessed day. Goodbye.